Manipulation isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. It hides behind kindness, charm, concern, or even love. It doesn't always come from bad people. Sometimes it comes from insecure ones, desperate ones, or people who've learned that control feels safer than vulnerability. But make no mistake, manipulation is about power. It's the art of bending reality until it serves one person's needs at the expense of another's, and it's more common than you think. Let's take a look at the hidden psychology behind it. Number 1, emotional manipulation, the soft control. Imagine you're in a relationship. Every time you disagree, your partner's voice drops. They sigh. They look hurt. They say things like, "I guess I'm just never enough for you," or "Forget it, I know I'm the problem." Suddenly, you're apologizing, not because you did anything wrong, but because their sadness feels like your fault. That's emotional manipulation. It doesn't use anger to control. It uses guilt. Psychologically, it plays on your empathy circuitry. The manipulator knows that and uses pain as leverage. They make you associate their discomfort with your responsibility. The result? You bend your boundaries to avoid making them sad again. Number 2, gaslighting, the war on reality. Gaslighting isn't just lying. It's rewriting your memory. For example, you bring up something hurtful they said, and they reply, "Wow, you're so sensitive. I never said that." You remember the tone, the moment, the sting, but the more they deny, the less certain you feel. Your mind starts to question its own reliability, and once that happens, they've won. Gaslighting works because it attacks your sense of reality testing. Because you value the relationship, you'd rather doubt yourself than doubt them. That's a trap. Number 3, guilt tripping, emotional blackmail. Guilt tripping is like emotional debt collection. It makes you feel you owe someone something you never borrowed. A friend says, "I guess I just care more than you do." A parent says, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" Because they've made your boundaries sound selfish. Humans hate feeling like the bad guy. So instead of confronting manipulation, we try to fix it by overgiving, over-explaining, or over-apologizing. That's exactly what the manipulator wants. Number 4, love bombing, the hook. It starts with flowers, compliments, and messages every morning. "You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're my soulmate." You start to believe it because, well, it feels amazing. But love bombing isn't love. It's bait. In psychology, this stage activates your brain's reward circuit. Then, once you're hooked, they pull it away. Now, you start chasing that feeling, trying to win their love back. They flip the script from you being adored to you trying to earn it. That's not romance. That's control through chemistry. 5, the silent treatment, weaponized absence. Imagine someone suddenly cuts off communication. No texts, no replies, just silence. You replay every conversation, trying to figure out what you did wrong. That's exactly what they want. The silent treatment is a form of punishment that hijacks your attachment system. When the connection is withdrawn, your brain triggers the same panic as physical pain. It's called social pain overlap theory. In simple terms, your mind treats rejection like injury. Manipulators use that to train you. If you behave, you get attention. If you disobey, you get silence. Over time, you start policing your own behavior just to avoid emotional withdrawal. That's control disguised as space. Number 6, triangulation, divide and rule. Now, imagine you conflict with someone. Instead of resolving it directly, they bring in a third person, a friend, coworker, or even family member. They twist the story so it's you versus them. That's triangulation. It's not about truth, it's about power. In psychology, it's rooted in the Karpman drama triangle, roles of victim, rescuer, and persecutor. The manipulator plays the victim to gain sympathy from the rescuer, turning you into the villain. It's emotional chess, and you're playing against someone who moves 3 pieces at once. Number 7, projection, the mirror trick. Have you ever been accused of something you didn't do, but it sounded exactly like something they would do? That's projection. A liar calls you dishonest. A jealous person calls you insecure. A cheater accuses you of cheating. It's not a coincidence. It's displacement. According to Freud, projection is a defense mechanism that allows people to expel unwanted traits by assigning them to others. In manipulation, it serves two goals: avoiding accountability and confusing the target. By making you defend yourself, they never have to. Number 8, blame shifting, the invisible mirror. Blame shifters are masters of, "It's not my fault." They'll break something, then ask why you didn't stop them. You'll confront them about hurtful behavior, and they'll say, "Well, if you hadn't made me angry, I wouldn't have done that." In that sentence, accountability disappears, like a magician's coin trick. Psychologically, this is a form of cognitive reframing, twisting events so they're never the villain. And if you're an empathetic person, you'll take the bait. You'll apologize for their actions. You'll start carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you. Number 9, playing the victim, sympathy as a shield. When someone causes chaos, gets caught, and suddenly becomes the one who's hurt, that's playing the victim. It's manipulation through sympathy. They exaggerate pain, fabricate hardships, or constantly remind you how nobody understands them. This works because empathy bypasses logic. When someone appears wounded, your instinct isn't to confront, it's to comfort. Manipulators know this. They turn compassion into camouflage. They don't seek healing, they seek control. Number 10, stonewalling, the psychological wall. Sometimes manipulation isn't active, it's passive. Stonewalling happens when someone refuses to engage in communication. They shut down, cross their arms, or give robotic responses like, "I don't know," or whatever. On the surface, it looks calm. In reality, it's punishment through disconnection. It halts problem solving, drains you emotionally, and forces you to beg for resolution. It's emotional suffocation wrapped in silence. Number 11, mirroring the perfect reflection. Mirroring is one of the most subtle tactics of all. It's when someone copies your mannerisms, interests, or speech patterns. At first, it feels flattering. We're so alike, you think. But when used manipulatively, mirroring creates false trust. Your brain naturally bonds with people who seem similar. It's called the similarity attraction effect. A skilled manipulator uses that bond to lower your defenses, making it easier to influence you later. By the time you realize it, they've built a psychological clone that reflects your best parts at you until they don't need the mask anymore. Number 12, love withdrawal, conditional affection. This one's especially toxic. Imagine your partner goes cold whenever you disagree. Less warmth, fewer texts, no affection. You feel anxious and start trying to earn their love again. That's love withdrawal, making affection a reward for obedience. In psychology, it's similar to operant conditioning. Positive behavior, compliance, gets rewarded. Negative behavior, disagreement, gets punished with distance. It turns relationships into behavioral training grounds, where love isn't love anymore. It's leverage. Number 13, the grand finale. Why manipulation works. Here's the truth most people ignore. Manipulation works not because the manipulator is smart, but because humans are wired to connect. We crave validation. We seek belonging. We mirror emotions. A manipulator simply weaponizes that wiring. They turn empathy into control, affection into leverage, and communication into confusion. They don't break your will, they make you surrender it. But there's a way out, and it starts with awareness. The moment you start noticing patterns, the spell breaks. You begin to see the emotional strings instead of dancing to them. You stop apologizing for things that aren't your fault. You stop mistaking manipulation for love. You stop confusing control for care. And you start remembering something vital. Power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. But once you learn to hear it, it can never fool you again.